Hey guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right. How are you guys? I hope you're doing well. I'm here, you're here, so I guess we can begin. It's Tuesday, July 23rd, and it's 8:38 p.m. Now, I didn't post yesterday. I had a very, very rough day yesterday, and I had been up all night the night before, and I do mean all night. So I ended up going to bed at about 7 o'clock last night, and I'm really glad I did. I woke up in a much better mood too. So there you go. But I'll tell you what we are going to be doing tonight. I've got a couple posts from the 21st to go over, and yesterday's posts. We're going to be going over those in one video, and then I'm going to come back and do a second video, and that will be the post from today, the 23rd. So after tonight, we will be completely caught up. Well, I mean, unless Q posts later on tonight, then we will have to catch those up tomorrow along with the Q related news, because lots of that, always lots of that. So let's get started. I took Sammy for his very first vet's visit today, and he's in great help. Not Sammy, but Xander, and he did so well. So I was so proud of him. You know, just I felt like a proud cat mom. Anyway, I know I'm being silly, but there you go. Now, all right, let's go up to this first one on the 21st, and all right, here it is. And Q posts to a Twitter account, and it's the Twitter account of Maggie Haberman. Now, we've heard that mentioned many, many times. We know about Maggie Haberman, and she's definitely not a Q fan and not a Trump fan, and she is in the pocket of the deep state. So no surprises there that she is not pro-Trump at all. And let's see what this is. And also, let me just read what's beneath it. It says, every single dirty tactic being deployed to stop the growth of this movement. Ask yourself a very simple question. Why? Why are the biggest media companies in the world, ... Q? And of course, he's asked this before. If it's a LARP, why does anybody bother with it? Why does anybody give it time? Airtime or time in the newspaper? Why waste? Why waste that? If it's just a LARP and you don't want to draw attention to it, then why would you give it that attention? But of course, we know that they know that Q. They know better than we all know. Let me tell you that. They know Q is real. Oh, yes, they do. And they are watching Q probably more diligently than we are, even, because their necks are on the line and they know it. So this is the post that Q is drawing our attention to, and it says, she is from the New York Times, by the way. He wasn't seeking to kill a mob boss. He was trying to help Trump, his lawyer says. The New York Times. And says in new court documents, the lawyer for Anthony Comello says he became obsessed by far-right QAnon conspiracy theories. Oh, did he now? Well, let's take a closer look. We're not going to go out and read all of this, but we are going to look at it in a little more depth. It says mainstream, and this is from Lisa Mae Crowley. She has a very good one to follow on Twitter. She's extremely smart, and she's been in the military. She knows what she's talking about, very well connected, and she does do very, very good decodes. Mainstream maybe. Gosh, I can't talk today. Mainstream media desperately trying to pin this story and other false flags on the Q movement to stop it from its continued growth / influence on the public worldwide. They've spent an inordinate amount of time and money on Q hit pieces because they're losing control of the narrative. Makes sense, right? Anon posted link to an archived article, New York Times behind paywall, and that's why we're not going out to it, because it's behind a paywall. Note, they claim Comello first discovered Q in the weeks after Mr. Trump's 2016 election. But that was a total false flag op designed to discredit the Q movement. Too bad for them, it won't work. Yeah, that seems odd that, this Comello claims to have found Q right after the 2016 election, because Q wasn't around right after the 2016 election. He didn't start posting until the fall of 2017. Gee, it's a little odd, don't you think? Yeah, I thought so too. Now, this is from an Anon. It says, and this is actually taken from the article, QAnon, a baseless conspiracy theory that originated on internet message boards, played a key role in Mr. Comello's descent into mental instability. His lawyer said, "Oh, well, we better watch it that we don't descend into mental instability because of following Q." That's the message they want to get out there, that only unstable people, mentally unstable people, would believe in Q. It claims, among other things, that America is controlled by a deep state, that prominent Democratic politicians are pedophiles. Yeah, they are. And that John F. Kennedy Jr., who died in a 1999 plane crash, is secretly alive and will run for president in 2020. Well, I don't know of anybody that has said that he'll run for president in 2020. There are many that believe that John F. Kennedy Jr. is alive. I don't know. I always, once I had looked into it, I was, I tended to lean towards, yeah, I think it's true. Now, I don't know, because I think it would have come out by now, but who knows? I just know that I'm going to drop it because I don't think that it's overly important to the Q movement at this time. I could be wrong. Anyway, at Mr. Comello's first court appearance in March, he displayed symbols and phrases associated with QAnon scrawled on his hand in pen. He first discovered the conspiracy theory, Mr. Gottlieb said, in the weeks after Mr. Trump's 2016 election. How odd! Because Q didn't exist then. Well, he didn't exist as far as we were concerned. We had never heard of him. First time anybody heard of him was, I think it was October 2017. I think that's when he started to post. So, in fact, I'm pretty darn sure. I'm 100% sure. So, Mr. Comello's support for QAnon went beyond mere participation in a radical political organization. A radical political organization. Did you know we were part of that? I guess so, according to Maggie Haberman, who I'm sure knows everything. Mr. Gottlieb wrote, it evolved into a delusional obsession. Did it now? Now, this is from an Anon. This is the Anon responding to what I just read to you. He first discovered the conspiracy theory, Mr. Gottlieb said, in the weeks after Mr. Trump's 2016 election. Well, Q didn't show up until, it was, October 28th. Q didn't show up until October 28th, 2017. So how did that happen? How did he know about it before the whole world knew? I don't know. Gee, maybe somebody's lying. This is just sad. And this is archive of New York Times Maggie Twat article, since the org is behind paywall. So other people have been kind enough to pull out the pertinent parts of it so that we do not have to give our hard-earned money to the New York Times. All right. So let's go on now. Obviously a hit piece, obviously trying to paint anyone that follows Q as a little unbalanced and possibly violent. And let's go on. And Q, I just reminding you what Q said here, every single dirty tactic being deployed to stop the growth of this movement. And ask yourself a simple question. Why? Because it's real. That's why. Nobody wastes time on stuff they don't believe is real. They don't. Why would you waste time debunking something that nobody believes in anyway? Doesn't make sense, does it? I didn't think so either. All right, let's go on. No, really, let's. All right, and here we are going up to the next one from July 21st, and it is a link to Comey. I know, I had to do that because, Comey, he's a piece of work. And now, let's read Comey's tweet first. And I've clipped it out just to save us a little bit of time. This week, an American patriot takes center stage. He doesn't want attention, has principles and follows them, and always tells the truth. What an opportunity for young people to be inspired. What a great opportunity for both parties in Congress to follow his example. Bet you he's not going to be saying that at the end of the week. Just betcha. I don't think this is going to age well at all. Then let's go back up and see what Q has to say about it. He says and who he's talking about here, this week an American patriot takes center stage. Well, who is that? That's Mueller. Yeah, he's going to be testifying tomorrow. Don't have to wait long, do we? Now, if AG Barr has access to all classified material, how does Mueller navigate? Good question. That's a very good question. Because if he is untruthful in any way, the D class is going to show it, right? If Mueller provides false or misleading testimony, will AG Barr be forced to declass all documentation to ensure full public awareness of the truth? Yes. Yes, they will. And I think that that's the whole plan, because we know how Mueller is going to proceed. We know how the Democrats are going to react to the testimony and how they're going to be trying to pull out things that, will make Trump appear in a negative light. So if Mueller defers to the original report, but Democrats / fake news push a false narrative, knowing majority of the D class, majority of the public did not watch the actual hearing, will AG Barr be forced to declass all documentation to ensure full public awareness of the truth? Yes. Yes, he will. He will. And in the little brackets there, either they are placeholders or kill brackets. It says, be ready. Mueller, be ready. James Comey, be ready. Traitors, one and all. Thank you for playing. FISA goes both ways. Q. Gotta love it. Gotta love Q. Absolutely. And this is from D. Oppresso Lieber. Another good person to follow on Twitter. Q reminding Comey and Mueller that they were subject of FISA warrants and the truth will come out one way or the other. If Mueller lies or doesn't stick to his report, he will be in danger of perjuring himself. Q basically hedging Mueller in before his testimony, warning him if he plays any dirty tricks or lies, AG Barr can simply declass all of it. Fox News already announced they are not airing the Mueller testimony. Dems planning to construct their own narrative of what they want the public to think Mueller's testimony is. It's not going to work. At Comey, tweet just now was a warning to Mueller that he better stay on script and toe the deep state line during the hearing on the 24th. Q telling all the traitors their antics are useless. And they are. I think they have them painted into a corner exactly where they want them. That's what I think. Now, and this actually we've already looked at, so I don't know why I put it in there twice, but I did for some reason. I don't know. There it is again. And never mind. We already looked at this. Okay, now we are going on to the 22nd. So these are yesterday's posts, the ones that I did not get to yesterday. We're going to get those up to date first. That will be the end of this video, and I'm going to start in fresh on the 23rd next. But first, let's cover these. Now, Fox News, this is a link. Q's provided us a link to Fox News, and then in either the kill brackets or the placeholder, it says, be ready. Be ready. Now, it says POTUS is warning that Mueller's testimony will backfire and hurt him. If he lies or provides misleading information, the D-class documents will reveal his attempts to misinform and will show that he was not an unbiased special counsel. Q then gives us a placeholder with the words, be ready. Now let's take a look at this. We're not going to read it in its entirety. I don't think that it's necessary, but Trump says Mueller shouldn't testify, warns hearing will backfire. And of course, we know it will. President Trump argued Monday that Robert Mueller should not be given a chance to testify before Congress later this week, warning that the former special counsel's highly anticipated hearing appearance could be bad for him and for Democrats in the end. Highly conflicted, Robert Mueller should not be given another bite at the apple. In the end, it will be bad for him and the phony Democrats in Congress who have done nothing but waste time on this ridiculous witch hunt, Trump tweeted. Result of the Mueller report, no conclusion, no obstruction. And let's just see if there's anything else pertinent here. Mueller is slated to appear before both the House Judiciary Committee and the House Intelligence Committee on Wednesday for back-to-back public hearings. Later, lawmakers are expected to interview Mueller's staff behind closed doors, but it is unclear whether Mueller himself will continue to answer questions in a private setting. Mueller only spoke in public about his investigation once. In May, Mueller hosted a press conference. He did not take any reporter questions, outlining his findings, noting there was not sufficient evidence to charge a conspiracy over whether members of the Trump campaign coordinated with the Russian government during the 2016 presidential election. His language on the question of whether the president obstructed justice, though, left the issue open, a move that Democrats took as a signal to ramp up their investigations. They're never gonna, they all know, they know, Mueller knows, they all know that this is a witch hunt. Sure they do. They know what was done. They know that they're trying to oust a legally elected, duly elected president. That's never happened before in the history of the U.S. that I'm aware of, unless there's something that I'm not aware of. And there could be, but to my knowledge, it's never happened. Mueller only spoke in public about his, okay, I've already read that, sorry. Fox News learned last week that Democrats on the Judiciary and Intelligence Committees are expected to focus on 5 areas in Mueller's report having to do with his inquiry on obstruction, rather than on accusations of the Trump campaign colluding with the Russians in an attempt to expose potential wrongdoing by the president. And they're not going to give up. They're not. And this guy, I don't know if I could handle seeing his face. I definitely don't want to listen to him talk, because there is something that is very, excuse me, unsavory about this character. Very unsavory. All right. Now, I'm going to, go on now from this. I don't think that it's necessary that we read all this, because I think all of us that have been following this are well aware of what is going on and what has gone on in the past and what is going on with this and what we can expect from this. I'm thinking that whatever Mueller says, when the D-class comes out, it's game over. Game over. I think the D-class is the the mother of all booms. So let's go back now to Q and see what else he has to say, because we're interested. All right, let's go up to the next. And the next one is this. It is a link to a Twitter account of John Henry, and let's take a look at what this is about. And it says, well, never seen this before. A stealth bomber from Whiteman Air Force Base flying over the National Mall. And here we have stealth bomber flying over the National Mall. Why might that be? Well, we're going to get into that a little bit. People are definitely entranced by it. So let's go back here. And this, according to Dio Presso Liber, the B-2 stealth flying over D.C. on July 4th was a symbol confirmed to patriots and anons paying attention. The time has come for the MOAB. We know what that stands for. And I would concur that that is what it means. And we're going to go up to the next one. And we're going to look at it, somewhat related. This is the next one, and Q is drawing our attention to this post by an anon on July 22nd, yesterday. And this anon just has a little clip out of Alex Wayne's Twitter page. It says, news, the U.S. Army is engaged in a mysterious operation around Washington, D.C. Things that make you go, yeah. And Q is acknowledging that. Now, underneath, I've got a bigger clipping of that. News, the U.S. Army is engaged in a mysterious operation around Washington, D.C. There's your black helicopters. Army lets slip. Oh, believe me, the Army doesn't let anything slip. They wanted it to slip. I don't believe that for a second, that they just let it slip. Army lets slip that it's conducting secret operation around D.C. The Pentagon has revealed a few details about a secret Army mission that has Black Hawk helicopters flying missions over Washington, D.C. Well, wonder what that is. Well, let's go to the article and see what this is. What do you think? I know what I think. All right, and here is the article. Black Hawk copters working on emerging classified mission. Service asked Congress for an extra $1.55 million for project. The Pentagon has revealed a few details about a secret Army mission that has Black Hawk helicopters flying missions over the Washington, D.C. area backed by active duty and reserve soldiers. The mysterious classified operation was disclosed when the Army asked Congress for approval to shift funds to provide an extra $1.55 million for aircraft maintenance, air crews, and travel in support of an emerging classified flight mission. It's part of a $2.5 billion request this month to reprogram funds in the current fiscal year budget to programs considered high priorities. Without additional funding, the Army will not be able to perform this classified mission, the Defense Department said. I'm getting as bad as Nancy Pelosi. And here's the document revealing the U.S. Army's mystery mission in the Washington, D.C. area. Certain people might be interested. Says soldiers from Assault Helicopter Company and Aviation Maintenance Units will be supporting the mission with 10 UH-60s and maintenance capabilities for 4 months, according to the document referring to the Blackhawks. The money will also pay for a specialized sensitive compartmented information facility, or SCIF, at Davison Army Airfield at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, just outside Washington. Army spokesman, Wayne Hall, declined in an email to comment on some possibilities, including whether the mission involved protecting the White House or other federal buildings, and whether it's making use of specialized commando units of the Pentagon's Joint Special Operations Command, which includes the Army Delta Unit and Navy SEALs Team 6. Hall said the operation began early in the fiscal year, which started October 1st, and the duration of the mission is undetermined. Now, I think that's quite fascinating. Why are they there and why now? Is it to protect the White House? Is it to maybe assist with arrests? That's what I think. I think that it is to assist with arrests, especially high-profile arrests, and possibly even to protect the White House and the president himself. But I am always interested in what you guys think, because it takes all of us. It takes all of our eyes and ears. We are the news. So I do depend on you guys, and your little tidbits of information are sometimes crucial. So there you go. Now let's go back. All right. So that is happening. And let's go up to the next one. You know why? Because we can. That's why. Now, this is a very easy, simple post here by Q, but it's going to take us a while to get through it, believe it or not. It says, Ezra Cohen Watnick, Q. Not the first time he's mentioned it. In fact, Q is drawing our attention to a post that he had posted on September the 2nd of 2018. So, and it's been a while since we've seen that name, a long while. So who is Ezra Cohen Watnick, and why is he reminding us of it now? Well, and here is another Q post from the past, a blast from the past. The 18th of June, 2018, we've got a link to an article, and it says in the article is, fired White House official joins DOJ at Trump's insistence. And the White House official is Ezra Cohen Watnick. And Q says, important to remember. So Q wanted us to remember this name way back in 2018. Now, let's go take a look at that article. Fired White House official hired by DOJ at Trump's insistence. And this is April 11th, 2018. And there we have the stealth, he was called, wasn't he called a stealth bomber himself? Of course, we know that Sessions is going to get his justification. He kind of took one for the team by, letting himself be badmouthed and letting the public believe that he had done something wrong when that is not the case at all. So Ezra Cohen Watnick, a controversial former national security aide to President Donald Trump, who was pushed out of the White House by H.R. McMaster, is rejoining the Trump administration. In his new role, he will serve as Attorney General Jeff Sessions' national security advisor. A 31-year-old former intelligence officer, Cohen Watnick, yeah, he's only 31 years old. Ezra Cohen Watnick was brought on to the Trump National Security Council by Michael Flynn. There's a name we're all familiar with, the president's first national security advisor. When Flynn's 24-day tenure ended in February of 2017, his replacement, H.R. McMaster, began cleaning house. But he wasn't able to remove Cohen Watnick, who reportedly used his alliances with Jared Kushner and Steve Bannon to stay in the White House. McMaster eventually got his way, pushing out Cohen Watnick last summer when he became involved with Representative Devin Nunes and his his attempts to prove Trump's claim that President Obama wiretapped Trump Tower. He then went to work for Silicon Valley giant tech Oracle, according to Talking Points memo, which said his return to the Trump administration had been in the works for months. With McMaster out of the way, Trump moved to bring back Cohen-Watnick, Bloomberg reported Wednesday. Trump personally ordered the Department of Justice to hire, Bloomberg says, despite a general policy to not rehire people who were fired. So that's interesting. It's interesting that he was hired by Flynn. He was very, very loyal to Trump and his administration. He did provide Devin Nunes with information. We know that. So very, very, very loyal to the administration. So it's not a surprise that Trump brought him back because, you know, when you find somebody loyal, and you know that's got to be a big, big deal to him, especially since everything that's happened. So, and let's go back, try to gain a little bit more understanding here. And here is 2 White House officials helped give Nunes intelligence reports. Well, one of those officials was Ezra Cohen-Watnick. We know that now. And down here it says, it is the latest twist of a bizarre Washington drama that began after dark on March 21st when Mr. Nunes got a call from a person he has described only as a source. The call came as he was riding across town in an Uber car and he quickly diverted to the White House. The next day, Mr. Nunes gave a hastily arranged news conference before going to brief Mr. Trump on what he had learned the night before from, as it turns out, White House officials. The chain of events and who helped provide the intelligence to Mr. Nunes was detailed to the New York Times by 4 American officials. Since disclosing the existence of the intelligence reports, Mr. Nunes has refused to identify his sources, saying he needed to protect them so others would feel safe going to the committee with sensitive information. In his public comments, he has described his sources as whistleblowers trying to expose great doings at great risk to themselves. That does not appear to be the case. Several current American officials identified the White House officials as Ezra Cohen-Watnick, the senior director for intelligence at the National Security Council, and Michael Ellis, a lawyer who works on national security issues at the White House counsel's office and was previously counsel to Mr. Nunes' committee. Though neither has been accused of breaking any laws, they do appear to have sought to use intelligence to advance the political goals of the Trump administration. I wouldn't say it was actually to advance the political goals of the Trump administration. I think it was to prove that Trump was innocent. And doesn't everybody have that right to prove their innocence when they are truly innocent? Sean Spicer, the White House spokesman, refused to confirm or deny at his daily briefing that Mr. Ellis and Mr. Cohen-Watnick were Mr. Nunes' sources. The administration's concern was the substance of the intelligence reports, not how they ended up in Mr. Nunes' hands, Mr. Spicer said. The obsession with who talked to whom and when is not the answer, Mr. Spicer said. It should be the substance. Jack Langer, a spokesman for Mr. Nunes, said in a statement, as he stated many times, Chairman Nunes will not confirm or deny speculation about his source's identity, and he will not respond to speculation from anonymous sources. Mr. Cohen-Watnick, 30, he was 30 then, is a former Defense Intelligence Agency official who served on the Trump transition team and was originally brought to the White House by Michael Flynn, former National Security Advisor. He was nearly pushed out of his job this month by Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster, who replaced Mr. Flynn as National Security Advisor, but survived after the intervention of Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, and Stephen K. Bannon, Mr. Trump's chief strategist. The officials who detailed the newly disclosed White House role said this month, shortly after Mr. Trump claimed on Twitter that he was wiretapped during the campaign on the orders of President Barack Obama, Mr. Cohen-Watnick began reviewing highly classified reports detailing the intercepted communications of foreign officials. There were conflicting accounts of what prompted Mr. Cohen-Watnick to dig into the intelligence. One official with direct knowledge of the events said Mr. Cohen-Watnick began combing through intelligence reports this month in an effort to find evidence that would justify Mr. Trump's Twitter posts about wiretapping. But another person who was briefed on the events said Mr. Cohen-Watnick came up with the information as he was reviewing how widely intelligence reports on intercepts were shared within the American spy agencies. He then alerted NSC General Counsel, but the official said Mr. Cohen-Watnick was not the person who showed the reports to Mr. Nunes. That person and a third official said it was then Mr. Ellis who allowed Mr. Nunes to view the material. The intelligence reports consisted primarily of ambassadors and other foreign officials talking about how they were trying to develop contacts within Mr. Trump's family and inner circles before his inauguration, officials said. The officials all spoke on the condition of anonymity and to describe the intelligence and to avoid angering Mr. Cohen-Watnick and Mr. Ellis, officials said. Mr. Cohen-Watnick has been reviewing the reports from his fourth floor office in the Eisenhower Executive Office Building where the National Security Council is based. So he's got a lot of information, interesting information. The official description of the intelligence is in line with Mr. Nunes' characterization of the material, which he said was not related to the Russia investigations when he first disclosed its existence. So I'm not going to go on through all of this because there's a lot here, but these Q is telling us, reminding us of Ezra Cohen-Watnick so you can believe without a doubt he plays a major role in whatever is upcoming. So that is what we can take away from that. Now, let's go back. No, really, let's. Oh, it scared me. I just saw out of my peripheral vision something, and it's the cat. I should have known that. Okay. All right. And this is Ezra Cohen-Watnick right here. And over here is, this is from August 2nd, 2017. McMaster fires top intelligence official from National Security Council. So it says McMaster has had problems with Cohen-Watnick for a while, trying to fire him back in March amid mounting complaints from CIA officials who didn't like working with him. Cohen-Watnick was close with Steve Bannon and Jared Kushner, and Trump overruled McMaster on that last firing attempt. Well, of course, they wouldn't like him, nor would they like working for him, because he was very, very loyal to Trump. So they didn't want him nosing around now, did they? Cohen-Watnick has been a favored aide to McMaster's predecessor, Michael Flynn, and, like other recently sidelined council members, was a major hawk on Iran, having advocated using the U.S. intelligence community to impose regime change. This further adds to questions about the stability of the Trump administration, which seems to be sloughing off appointees several times weekly these days and increasingly at odds with one another on policy positions. Yeah, well, of course, they're going to add their little slant to it, but it could even be that with what is upcoming on Iran, he will be of importance. So I don't know, but Q is definitely telling us that we need to remember him and keep an eye on him. And it says 31-year-old Ezra Cohen-Watnick holds the intelligence portfolio on the National Security Council, but almost everything about him is a mystery. Well, who is Ezra Cohen-Watnick, and why does the deep state want to keep him from POTUS? Well, that's a good question, isn't it?
As Spygate unfolds, there's a name I believe we will be hearing a lot more of, Ezra Cohen-Watnick. Now, this is old, by the way, and I took this from the website Disclosure Italia. So I just want to disclose where I found this, and that this is not mine. Anyway, but it's very good. Cohen-Watnick was hired during the brief tenure of Michael Flynn as Senior Director for Intelligence on the National Security Council. He lasted a bit longer than Michael Flynn, though. He managed to keep... oh my gosh. Hang on. I think... I don't know if my cat just got outside or what just happened. Oh, no, there he is. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. We can continue on, but I thought my cat, for somehow, the window is just open ajar, yeah, I thought that he had somehow gotten out because I heard this loud banging behind me, and I was frightened for a moment. I thought, what should I do? Should I stop recording? What should I do? But yeah, the heat wave has broken, so I've got my air conditioner off and I've got my window open a little bit. All right, let's go on with this. You know, my heart has, stopped. All right. He managed to keep a low profile. And we didn't hear much about him until President Trump's neocon generals had him ousted. What I find most disturbing is that these generals clearly lied to Trump about his firing. Excerpt. Trump had thought Cohen-Watnick began working at the Justice Department in the fall, but a confidant told the president during a recent phone call that he was not. According to a person briefed on the call, Trump was displeased and told staff to make it clear he wanted Cohen-Watnick on the job as soon as possible. Cohen-Watnick was recently asked again to join the Justice Department and accepted, Zed said. He starts his new government job on Monday. I'm not sure when this was written. It looks as if a friend told the president about Cohen-Watnick's firing, and President Trump then decided to hire him back. Seems to me that the tide has been turning against the Mueller investigation ever since Ezra has returned to the Trump administration. So, yeah, he is an important piece of the puzzle. And now we can go on to the next post. Yay! So glad my curtains stayed up. They can't take too much more of cats. All right, let's go on to the next post, which is this. And it's an interesting one. Q links to Kevin Shipp, his Twitter, and it is below here. And he says, whoops, where did I go? He says, dark to light. Hunters become the hunted. This is not another 4-year election. Now, Q. Now, let's look at what Kevin Shipp has to say. Pedophilia, child trafficking, Satan worship, bloodletting of children in plain view, and this is a quote from Revelation 2:24, but I say to you, the rest who are in Thyatira, who do not hold this teaching, you have not known the deep things of Satan, as they call them. I place no other burden on you. Now, what this verse is about is there were in Thyatira, there were some people that were getting into Gnosticism and instead exchanging the blood of Christ, which is the sacrifice for our sin, for knowledge. They were, Gnosticism is attaining salvation or whatever through knowledge, secret knowledge. Well, the Bible expressly forbids that. And so these people had been getting into, and it says, who have not known the deep teachings of Satan, as they call them. So they were into these deeper teachings of Gnosticism, which is really Luciferianism, Satanism. And so what he was saying basically was, look, you guys that haven't participated in this, I'm not placing any burden on you. just continue to do what you're doing. I'm addressing these people over here. All right, so that's what Q is saying. Really, Q is saying this because even though this came from Kevin Shipp, Q has directed us to it. And so when he's talking about those who have not known the deep things of Satan, well, they're talking about all these things that we've been looking at. Down here, we've got, what was that called? Spirit cooking. And up here, this is a party where they've got, this really is cake. It's not a human being, but they make cake in the shape of human beings and then they eat it. And it's symbolic, of course. And that is also one of, what's her name? Is it Abramovich or Abramovich? That's it, Abramovich. She held this party. And then there is Madonna, who her stuff is blatantly satanic. So is Lady Gaga and many other of, I really do think you have to be into this at some level to get anywhere in the music business. That is how it appears to me. And many people have said the same thing that are in those circles, that you really have to be into that or they're not interested. Most of these people are mind controlled and they are slaves or handlers. Anyway, so that is what that post means. And it says dark to light. Hunters become the hunted. This is not another 4-year election. This is to change everything. We would not have benefited from another 4-year election or another 8-year election. We as a country could not benefit from that because everything was so corrupt and still is to a certain point, although it's getting cleaned out. And it's like a wound, and America can't heal unless someone gets in there. And, you know, if you've got gangrene or whatever, or an infected wound, you have to get in there and dig it out. Get all that stuff out of there, all the poison out of there, and pack it and clean it, keep it clean. And that is what's happening. That's what we're going through right now. It's being cleaned out. The wound's being cleaned out. And America cannot heal unless that happens. So here we go to the next one. And this is a link to status on Twitter again. And it says, where we go one, we go all. We, the people, Q. Now let's go see what Q is directing us to, shall we? Of course we shall. All right. Now let me turn this is in Puerto Rico, and pay attention to this woman right here. She's got a Q shirt on. Yes, she does.
Look at that Q shirt, San Juan, Puerto Rico.
So she's in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and she is jumping and waving the flag and has a Q shirt on. And Q says, where we go one, we go all. They're everywhere. Supporters of Q are everywhere. Of course, Puerto Rico, part of the States, but, you know, we see people, you know, in Europe and other places with Q shirts on and everything. It's worldwide. So, yeah, let's go back. No, really, let's. Okay, so not too much to explain there. Just Q pointing out that this woman that was, or this tweet, that where somebody drew attention to this woman that had the Q shirt on in Puerto Rico. All right, now, this is the next one, and Q draws draws our attention to this quote by Napoleon Bonaparte. Never interfere with an enemy in the process of destroying himself. Now, Q has used that many, many, many times. And what he means is they're doing a good job of destroying themselves as it is. The Democrats, why interrupt them? Why interrupt them when they have people like, Ilhan and Tlaib and Rashida Tlaib or whatever. Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and, AOC, like these people are doing a great job as it is of just destroying the Democratic Party. And also the mainstream media. They're doing a great job of destroying themselves. They're making themselves obsolete. Nobody, the ratings have gone way, way down on CNN, and they probably would have very little ratings at all if they didn't have a contract to be in every airport, bus station, what have you. But yeah, very few people are listening to them anymore. They know they're lying, Anyway, so the Dems and mainstream media think that Mueller will give them the reason they are seeking to impeach President Trump. However, his testimony will mean little once the declass occurs. Yeah, they're destroying themselves. In this, they have this rabid fetish on Trump. They're obsessed with him. Instead of just saying, okay, you know what? He's going to be out, soon enough. And, of course, we know he's going to get in. We know he's going to get in for the next 4 years. But, instead of, they're just obsessed with bringing this man down. I've never seen the likes of it, ever. So they must be really, really threatened. And I think that the people that are, complaining the loudest, well, Q told us that, right? Those that complain the loudest, those that, are the loudest, you got to look at those. Well, who's the loudest? Schiff, Schumer, Pelosi, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, AOC. These are all people that have something to lose. So let's go on, shall we? Indeed we shall. Now, this is the next one, and I'm not exactly sure what Q is trying to tell us. This is by an anon. It's a picture by an anon, and Q is drawing our attention to it. It was actually posted on July 22nd, and July 22nd, Q drew our attention to it, and he said, well, he just drew our attention to it. And this was previously posted, this exact picture with the flags out. And I think at that time, Q put underneath it, flags out. And on March 25th. So it's not the first time it's been posted. It's the second time. And maybe Q is just drawing attention to the patriotism. And I don't know. I would assume that he is drawing the attention to these houses that have displayed the flag and displayed their patriotism and their love of country. But that's all I really can say about this post, because I'm not sure beyond that what Q is wanting us to know. But we at least know that he's pointing out the flags, and the 3 flags flying and put out by these houses, and just looks like an American scene, doesn't it? Just, small town America. It's beautiful. All right. That brings us, I do believe, to the end of July 22nd. So we have yet to cover the 23rd, but stay tuned because we are going to cover it. And I'm going to do that next. I'm going to get this uploaded and I'm going to jump right on it. I am going to have to take a few more minutes because I had looked at it and Q has posted additional posts. So I am going to have to take the time to look at it, but I will be back tonight. And then we will be caught up in time for tomorrow so that if Q does not post tomorrow, I will probably do 2 Q-related news because I don't want us to get behind in that. I think it's important for us to keep up to date with everything that's happening surrounding this, because it's not just the Q posts that are important. It's everything that is surrounding it. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. And every once in a while, if you can, throw me a coffee or, smile at me, encourage me. Or just hold my hand and sing me a lullaby. It all makes me happy. So that's it. Stay safe, stay blessed, and keep seeking truth. I'll be back soon. Good night.